JSB Trails. Welcome to JSB Trails, a beacon from the past, lighting the future.
Welcome back, one and all. Welcome back to the JSB Trail, a beacon from the past, lighting the future. Yes, folks, my name is Damion Rose, and I'm here again for another episode. And today we have a very interesting guest. A few episodes back, we interviewed her brother. And today we have none other than Miss Nila Latty. Good day to you, Miss Latty.
Good day, Sir Damion.
And how are you today, ma'am?
Oh, I'm feeling quite nice and relaxed, sir. You must be a good person.
Wow.
I feel relaxed in your company.
Thanks a lot. All right, Miss Latty. So let's get into it. Where are you from?
I am from the parish of Clarendon, a little place called Roden Hall. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yes. And the family. Tell us a little bit about your family. I know of your brother, Jeffrey. We interviewed him a few episodes back. Tell us a little bit about the family.
All right. There are 7 siblings of us, and of course my mother and father, who were, they're died now, both, were married people. So we lived in a good, nice family relationship like that. I have 3 brothers up the top, 1, 2, 3, and they're okay, no problems in terms of physical disability. Then came my sister. We call her Fruity. My sister, and then Jeffrey, my brother, and then I was the next one. So 3 of us down the line. And we all came with some form of visual impairment. And then there was the last one, and he's fine in terms of physical problems.
Whoa. Whoa. So, in terms of what is your visual impairment? What is the cause?
Well, they say that the optic nerve, I think is the name of that nerve, yes, the optic nerve was so poorly developed. Sometimes my doctor wonder how I see anything at all. All of us had congenital cataracts as well.
Oh, so all 3 of you had congenital cataract?
Yes.
Right. And tell us a little bit about that household. What was it like, the 3 of you having some visual impairment? The first 3 were quite all right. What was it like growing up among your seeing brothers and sisters?
Well, actually, when I think about it now, they were really quite fantastic about how they dealt with us. Because even though we couldn't see well, we were not left in the back room, as it were.
Right.
We were up there with them. If we were playing hide and seek, these little games that we used to play, I used to be the person who would seek them, because you can't see good. So
right.
I had to find them.
Right.
And they would make little sound, whoop, and you would run to where the sound is, and then they would, and find them. So they made us feel a part of things, really and truly.
Nice.
So it was good.
Nice.
It was good.
The parents, their thinking in terms of you 3 having a visual impairment, what were their views on you guys?
Well, for sure, they didn't leave us behind. If we were going, I don't know if you remember in those old days, there was something called picnic. At Christmas time, there was always a picnic.
Right.
Where you had pipes and drums and merry-go-round
and
such matters.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to go there. But my mother insisted that I would not do anything like going on a merry-go-round and that sort of thing. So all I did was every minute I find an ice cream in my hand.
Yes.
Eat ice cream.
Ice
That
cream.
was my
Yes.
But my sister could go, because she could see a little better than I could.
Okay.
But I don't remember one thing about Jeffrey, what happened to him.
Right. And now on to schooling. Was the School for the Blind your first school?
No, man. My mother was insistent that we be educated, come not matter what.
Right.
So I went to a little school they called, infant school.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to primary school. But I couldn't see beyond my nose.
Couldn't see the blackboard.
No, man. Hardly see a thing. And I can hardly see a thing. But I had to go to school.
Right.
And I used to do some, the teachers were really, they didn't know what to do with me. So they just ignored me. I was just in school, sitting down, doing nothing. And I remember one time, my sister, I was halfway to school and I decided that I am going to go back home because I can't take the school business no more. And the children used to tease me bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to Fruity, boy, my stomach hurting me. No, I want to go home. And she run back with me home and put me at the gate, called the old lady, and she gone back to school because she loved school.
Right.
She could see a little more than I.
Right.
She could manage school.
Mm-hmm.
But my mother insisted that I had to go to school no matter what. Then now, one time, somebody told my mother about the School for the Blind, out of the blue. And quick o'clock, she found herself there with us. Jeffrey and I, really. We were in town.
Right.
Dealing with some eye thing at KPH.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that's where you found out about the School for the Blind?
No, not quite. Somebody just happened to see us and tell us about the School for the Blind. Some family member.
Right.
So the next day she just took us there to have a look and to find out what was going on because she was so intrigued to hear that there was a school for the blind.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, long and short of it is that in those days too, School for the Blind was not a free institution.
Oh.
So we are from a poor family
Mm-hmm.
setup. So my mother went to Maypen Parish Council and see what they could do in terms of,
Mm-hmm.
paying and so on, getting us in, getting a scholarship. Yeah, you had to get a scholarship, I think, to get into the School for the Blind.
Right.
So, long and short of it though, they decided to offer one scholarship. I think they call it scholarship. Call it scholarship anyway.
Mm-hmm.
One scholarship to the school. And when the little man came, I think they called him the public inspector. When he came to our home, he said that there was a scholarship on offer. And his words were, who want to go? And I jumped up and I said, me want to go. Because I so desperately wanted to leave the school that I was going, the
Right.
primary school. Because I was doing nothing there, nothing.
And life was getting frustrating.
Very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if the decision was made then, I don't know. But all I know, I was going to school and I really went to school. I was the first one there.
Right. And what was life for you at the School for the Blind like?
Boy, apart from the other children sometimes teasing you and, carrying you to place when you're new and running away and leaving you and you're lost and you're bored.
Yes.
Apart from that side of it, I found it absolutely amazing that for once I was understanding school, understanding class, and actually learning. The most fantastic part of it was to learn to read Braille.
Mm-hmm.
And when I learned to read Braille, I could get a book and I could read. I was over the moon.
Right.
I was just amazingly satisfied with life. And some little time after, the matron,
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Weeks was the matron at that time. She called me and said to me if Jeffrey was bright like I am. So I said to her, Miss, I am not bright, Miss, but Jeffrey's bright, because Jeffrey really was bright.
Right.
So she said, but you are very bright. And long and short of it, they got Jeffrey into the school because of what I was apparently doing at
Mhm.
school. Because
Right.
I was doing well in school
Right.
and loving it. So the time came, in those years of long ago, you had exam called Jamaica local exams.
Mm-hmm.
And we had first year, second year, third year exams. Anyhow, when I was about 12, 13, Jeffrey and I, we sat the first year exam.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, I got the first, they used to grade the first 9, I think, places.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the first place in first year. And also they used to grade them like first class pass or second class pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a first class pass and Jeffrey got a first class pass at the school for the blind. So both of us did very well. And my first place position gave me a chance to gave me a scholarship to go to a high school.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how I ended up going to Ulmer's High School for girls.
Yes. And a whole new situation now. What was that like?
Ulmer's High School for girls was a very intriguing place.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I had to adjust to dealing with all those people who could see.
Right.
And, but one thing was going for me. I was bright.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're bright, wherever you are, you attract good
yes,
attention.
Yes.
Yes. So I did well in my studies at Ulmer's, and I was loved by many people. And some of the girls were sort of their bad ways were shown up by the principal.
Right.
And she was always saying, if Nila can do that, and
Oh, jeez.
So it was a mixed bag, really.
Right.
But it was good, very good.
Nice. And you went through high school and you graduated. What was life like after high school? What did you do? Did you go on to further studies?
Well, yes. In those days, it was GCE we were dealing with.
Right.
So I took GCE. I took 8 subjects as it happens, and I got 8 of them.
Right.
And the matron at the school, remember the Mrs. Weeks I was talking about?
Right, definitely.
Yes. I had said to her that I wanted to do journalism, but she had said, boy, journalism can be a difficulty. Probably what I might want to try first is go study physiotherapy, and then, I can always do journalism at another time.
Right.
So after getting explanation as to what that is, and there was one blind gentleman who had not too long graduated as a physiotherapist.
That's Wilbert Williams?
That's Wilbert Williams, yes. So I spoke to him and he explained what it was, and I decided, yes, all right, I will do that, but I really wanted to do journalism.
Right.
But anyhow, so it worked out. Mrs. Weeks did all that she usually knows how to do very well.
Mm-hmm.
Got me a scholarship, and eventually I went to England and I got a scholarship and studied physiotherapy at the Royal National Institute for the Blind. They ran at that time a school of physiotherapy for blind and visually impaired training. So I ended up in England. That was probably about 1972 perhaps.
Right.
So I went to the school and found that indeed physiotherapy was a very intriguing professional situation where the training I found very good also. And I love to help people.
Right.
So it's a very helping profession. It's a health type of profession where we treat patients with many varied conditions. Conditions dealing with orthopedics, for example, with neurology, with cardiopulmonary, so all the various areas of the system.
Right.
We work to assist in getting the persons better or teaching them how to live with their condition. So eventually, it was a 3-year affair. It was in those days a diploma program. And at the end of it, I did well also, to the point where, mind you, I failed one area in one part of the system, but I eventually ended up with the final examinations we did, and I got a credit from that final examination, which was a very good thing.
Nice.
So I was bonded by the government of Jamaica for 5 years.
Right.
So it meant that I didn't have a problem. I just went into a job when I returned.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So,
And where did you work when you returned?
well, I started at Kingston Public Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Spent a rather short time there, and then I was put into a place called National Chest Hospital. I objected. I didn't want to go there because I wanted some little. It's a fairly specialized area that it just deals with chest conditions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I was told I have no choice in the matter.
Oh, jeez.
Go where you go where you're put. So I went.
So you went.
Yeah. I've gone through a few places. I've worked at Sir John Goulding Rehab Center.
Mm-hmm.
But where I ended was Bustamante Hospital for Children.
Yes.
I spent some good long years. Didn't want to go there either,
Mm-hmm.
but that was a promotional opportunity.
Right.
And I was told if you don't take it, well, there's no way you might be given any more promotion. And really and truly, government system is ridiculous because that's the only promotion I received.
Right.
So,
And do you think that your visual impairment had anything to do with it?
the fact that I didn't get promoted,
Yes.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did.
Right, right. So you have gone to England now and you studied physiotherapy, came back home, started working. Did you start any life of your own in terms of getting any kids or anything like that?
Well, I wouldn't say I didn't start any life like that. I started life like that, but I didn't get any kids.
Right. So, how did you get involved with the Jamaica Society for the Blind?
Oh, well, the Jamaica Society for the Blind was going through many changes at the time when I got involved. In the times in the 70s, that sort of period.
Mm-hmm.
I came back in the mid-70s. So in those days, there wasn't really much going on. I think the council or the board or whatever it is called,
Mm-hmm.
the board at that time, I think, had one representative, a blind person on the board.
Right.
But we were fighting, and I joined the fight. So eventually the whole system was changed, and now, I can't remember, but I think most of the board is now consists with, most of the board consists.
Yeah, you have a mixture now. We have a mixture.
Yes.
Right. So in terms of when you joined, because I've interviewed persons before, like Mr. Derek Palmer, Mr. Wilbur Williams, and Mr. Orville Grant, and they spoke about the whole revolution, how they practically they overthrew the board, and practically took over the running of the Jamaica Society for the Blind. But they were having issues because not a lot of them knew anything about how a board was supposed to operate and stuff like that. So they were on the job while learning. So tell us about your input and how you contributed to the Jamaica Society back then.
Well, I'm a fairly quiet person, so I can't remember.
Yes, that's true.
I can't remember doing any big ball out, that sort of thing. But,
Right.
But I also did say that I love to do journalism.
Mm-hmm.
And journalism includes writing, so I love writing.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually I became the recording secretary.
Wow.
for board meetings
Mm-hmm.
and so on.
And that was in which year, if you can remember?
Oh mercy.
I can't remember the year.
I can't quite remember the year.
But it was in the 70s.
Yes, it was somewhere in there.
Right.
It was in when the thing was changed, and a lot of us were actually on the board.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember they saying, you'll be recording secretary until you leave,
Whoa.
which was very,
Yeah.
intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I obviously didn't do a bad job of recording.
Right.
Recording is vital to life. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, so I did that.
And in terms of the board, were you only a recording secretary, or you did any other, you took any other position on the board?
I don't think I took any other position on the board. I was just recording secretary full stop, because each year, you know, you mean like chairman and such? No.
Right.
No.
Right. And how long were you the secretary?
Boy, you ask me questions that I cannot. I think there was wasn't there a time? I think there's a time thing about board though. You can't be on the board for more than, I don't remember how long, but
Mm-hmm.
I think, and then you had to be re-elected. So I went through several re-elections until I don't know.
Right.
I can't, sorry, can't remember the exact time about it, but some good years, man. I was on the board.
Nice, nice. And if you can remember, what are some of the things that were implemented under the board that, you know, were implemented to help blind and visually impaired persons?
Well, I think the fact that you know, more blind people were on the board, things that were needed to be changed and so on, at least was on the agenda. And you know, so they were discussed, and where possible, some of them were implemented.
Right.
It's too long ago though to tell you what and why and how, but it's a struggle that will go on until we are no more. I am sure that here and now there are many things that could be improved, but just life must go on. But I think a person should be in a position who is themselves blind or whatever other disability
Mm-hmm.
there might be. So you know, if you have a board, you need people who are living through the experience.
That is true.
We know what we think would be better done that way,
Right.
or that way.
Right.
Yeah, you can't be told what to do by somebody else. You have to determine.
And over your long life and great career so far, did you ever play any other role here at the Jamaica Society for the Blind?
I don't think so. No.
Right, right.
But
right.
like you have a forum and so on.
Mhm.
You know, I'm always interested to go to these things. Oh, but I must also tell you that I had a severe accident one time in my life.
Right.
I think that was 87, I think. I was crossing a road. I used a white cane, crossing a pedestrian crossing, and a motorist, I was told that I could cross by, you know, some people.
Right.
And I was crossing, and a motorist just overtook everything that had stopped, and I got a severe head injury
Mm.
as a result.
Right.
Now that really changed my life in many, many ways. I was completely out for about 2 weeks or so, just unconscious. Anyway, it took me some time to come around, and I don't know how much people know about head injury and the stages that you go through. But one of the stages is that you become very boisterous when you recover,
Right.
and you really go on bad. So I went through all that, but my family was very much in control of what was happening. They were very much with me,
Mm-hmm.
and so it took me time, but I eventually recovered to some good extent, so I could go home. In that period, though, I needed help to be taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to bring in my sister, Fruity.
Right.
She really gave up whatever she was about and became my nurse, really, nurse in quotation marks.
right.
You know? I had to stop, I think it was nearly a year or 2 years, I think,
Mm.
that it took me to go back to work. I wasn't a year. I can't
Right,
remember now.
right.
But anyhow, I eventually went back to work, and thank God I could manage. And
So you were doing physiotherapy up until you retired.
yes,
And in terms of the Jamaica Society for the Blind now, and you have been around for a very long time and you have seen the changes that have gone on here and seen where we are now. What is your overall view of where the Jamaica Society is now and where it's coming from?
Well, when I came into it first, as I said to you, there wasn't much input from blind people into the running of the society.
Mm-hmm.
To the point now where over some years now I've seen blind or visually impaired people being executive director of the association.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen interesting things like the eye clinic has developed and has seemed to have developed very well. A building was set up, and a part of that building is to do with the eye clinic, to house the eye clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the eye clinic is really being used very well by people.
Right.
Not by blind people alone, but by people.
Right. Because we are also about vision care.
Indeed.
Right.
And that is a very vital part of the whole process. And we have so many diabetic people in this country,
Mm-hmm.
and blindness is a part of that, or can be a part of that. So I think this is a very, very important role that I think the society is now involved with, and I'm very happy for that. We used to do a fair amount on mobility training. We had rehabilitation field officers, but it seems to have got back somewhat, but I think it's improving again, and I think that is important as well.
And, to the clients of the Jamaica Society for the Blind, or to persons who are out there who, have visual impairment and, they are hesitant about coming and getting involved with the Jamaica Society for the Blind, what would be your message to them?
I think that an association such as this, we should try our best to come and give support and seek help if we need it also. Because not because if you're visually impaired, that doesn't say that you're helpless and hopeless,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just seeking all the time.
Right.
You are also giving. Because I remember in days of time, any time at least, the library sometimes needs people to help to sort out braille books and destroy some, and we would always be doing such things. So anything that we can do to assist the association, we surely should.
Right.
Should do.
And a word to our clients.
Well, use your service. The more you want to use the service, the more we should be forced to improve the service and to get more people, to serve. So there's a little part that I like in this society is the library. Well, I'm a Braille person, as I told you. Braille is what I use.
Right.
But there are problems now. Braille reading is not so hot on the agenda anymore.
Mm.
We are into what is
Technology.
that? Technology. Yeah, we are into technology, and that is very good.
But
I think Braille should be given some priority also.
Yes, because that's how blind persons read and write. And in any other instant, if somebody can't read or write, you would say they are
Thank you.
good.
They're illiterate, man.
Right.
Yes.
So if you can't read and write with Braille, you're also illiterate.
Yes, I agree with you.
Right.
What I have to do now is, well, I am borrowing CDs.
Right.
But you know what? A CD, you can put it in your bed with you and hug it up and read
And
until you
read.
fall asleep, you know?
Mhm.
So I miss my Braille reading.
And not only that, it can't enhance your spelling and your grammar. Right?
You are so right. You are so right. Yeah. So
Right.
I find, the use of CDs, it's a very secondary affair, man. It's can't replace Braille.
No,
Braille
that
at all.
never,
No.
never.
No.
And finally, a word to our valued members of staff.
Better be careful that I'm sitting right beside one. Well, I am no longer, I'm not quite in my dotage yet, but I am no longer so actively involved in, Society for the Blind. So all I can say is whether or not you're active, whether or not you use the services much, I can say to you that the staff of any association is a vital aspect of its running and its worthiness and its worth. And I hope that the staff will make sure at all times that they give of their best for the organization's goodness to continue and to grow. And I'm sure the staff has challenges. One of them must be monetary considerations, because agencies like this never have enough money to pay staff properly. I think probably the whole society would agree that is so in many areas except such agencies like this. But anyhow, I will not digress because I can't help them.
There you have it, folks. There you have it, Miss Nila Latty, the lady that is known as the quiet lady, but she had a lot to say today. And I hope you enjoyed what she had to say, and you have learned a few things from the great lady, the long-running secretary of the board here at the Jamaica Society for the Blind. Thank you again, Miss Latty, for passing through JSB Trails. My name is Damion Rose, and join me next time where I'll have another interesting guest with me inside the JSB Trails. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to JSB Trails, a beacon from the past, lighting the future. This has been a production of the JSB Library.